A very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining our Homeopathy 24/7 podcast. We are going to be speaking to an array of international guests who will share their knowledge and experiences of homeopathy with you. We will discuss all types of subjects such as remedies, symptoms, and stories of health. No matter where you are with your homeopathic journey, we aim to inspire you on your quest to natural health and living. The podcast is brought to you by Mary Greensmith, the founder of Homeopathy 24/7, which is a global platform connecting you with a homeopath wherever you are in the world, 24 hours a day. So let's get started with today's chat. Please welcome Mary Greensmith.
Hello, lovely to see you all. Thank you very much for joining us. And today I'm really pleased to be able to welcome Kim Elia. Thank you very much for joining us, Kim. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you, Mary. Nice to see you as well.
Now, you are a renowned world homeopathic speaker. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was the director of nutrition at Hartwood Institute in Northern California for a number of years, and I had many different clients that I was working with nutritionally, and I was looking for some other type of therapeutic modality to help these people who were already chewing buckwheat sprouts 2,000 times per mouthful. So I went into a local health food store, and there was a book there by Maisie Panos. It was one of those therapeutic acute care books, and on the back of it was that famous quote by Mahatma Gandhi, and that quote really caught my attention because Gandhi had wanted the people of the Indian subcontinent to have pride in their own cultural accomplishments. And yet somehow he was endorsing homeopathy over this 2,000-year-old system of medicine, which we call Ayurveda. I thought, how is that even possible? So I purchased the book. I brought it home. I read it that night. I was completely taken by homeopathy. I purchased a remedy kit, bought some homeopathic audio tapes, began to listen to them, and started giving remedies almost immediately. And that was really how I began my journey in homeopathy. And I had some just amazing early success stories, especially with my own family. I had a mom who was bitter, angry, unforgiving, impossible. My dad, after many years of marriage, was ready to get divorced. And I was reading through George Vithoulkas' Stolen Essences, and I got to the remedy Nitricum acidum, which of course is characterized by the three Ps: pissed off, pessimistic, and a pest. And it was as if George Vithoulkas personally knew my mom and was simply describing her in that book. And so I knew enough about homeopathy to ask for some confirmatory questions, information. And so I asked her how she felt about herring, not Constantine herring, but pickled herring. And
Yes.
she said, "Ooh, I love it." And so I gave her Nitricum acidum, and she literally transformed. She went from this bitter, angry, unforgiving, impossible human being to someone who was literally singing and dancing around the house. I remember the song she was singing was "Can't Buy Me Love" by the Beatles. And you've probably heard the expression, "You can't be a prophet in your own hometown." Well, your parents and your childhood friends all perceive you in the same light, and I certainly
Yeah.
had that type of a dynamic with my dad. And after he witnessed the transformation of my mom, he came up, he shook my hand, he said, "I don't know what you've done, but from now on, I support you 100%." And so I had many of these amazing experiences, and I continued to study with many different people around the world, and eventually began to teach homeopathy. I have a fairly busy practice right now, and I travel around. I think I was mentioning to you earlier, I was just recently in Brisbane. I was their keynote speaker, and yeah, it's been really a godsend for me to be involved in homeopathy. It's an amazing system of medicine.
Fantastic, gosh. And of course now you're speaking all around the world and you've been working with the colleges and setting up Whole Health Now and the Academy for Homeopathy Education. So lots going on.
Yeah, I've got my finger in a lot of different different pies for sure. Yeah.
And so now you're doing a film. Tell us more about introducing homeopathy.
Yeah, so this is my most current project. I'm extremely excited about it. I believe, Mary, that the measure of morality is what we leave for this generation, for the next generation, that we should leave a better world than the one that we inherited. And homeopathy has given me so much personally in my own life, and also I've witnessed so many transformations in my patients who I've worked with, that I feel this is an opportunity for me to give something back, not just to the homeopathic community, but to the entire world community. Because homeopathy has the power to transform a person's life. Hahnemann alludes to this in the ninth aphorism of the Organon, where he talks about the lofty goal of human existence. So uh, a few years ago, about 2.5 years ago, I was looking to make some short videos for another project that I'm working on. And I went online and filled out various forms. And this fellow called us up at our home and said he was a filmmaker. And he was very friendly, very affable, and seemed to have the necessary skills. So we hired him to make these short little videos for us, and they came out fantastic. I mean, he was really professional. He's been in the entertainment industry for almost 20 years and has really high level skills. He makes commercials and films for local televisions and for big Fortune 500 companies. And I thought, wow, I've always wanted to make a documentary, and this guy's got
Mm.
the skills that I don't have, but I know
Yeah.
lots of people in the homeopathic community, and I understand the history of homeopathy and what it's capable of doing in a person's life. And so I asked him if he wanted to make a film, and he was very excited because his father is an acupuncturist. And so he's very sympathetic to natural and energetic medicine. And so this was a wonderful partnership. We've traveled all over the country. As a matter of fact, he was actually most recently in the UK.
Okay.
He was interviewing Dr. Brian Josephson, who won the Nobel Prize for some discoveries that he made in quantum physics. As a matter of fact, there's an area of quantum physics named after him called the Josephson effect. So he was interviewing a Nobel laureate. He also
Okay.
interviewed a number of farmers who were using homeopathy to increase their crop yields and also improve the health of their livestock. So we've traveled all over. We've filmed, I think at this point, over 120 people, about
Okay.
25, 30 medical doctors, a number of naturopathic physicians, a number of lay homeopaths. We will have two Nobel laureates that will be in the film, a number of PhDs, a number of veterinarian homeopaths. We even have a woman who's one of the foremost experts on the placebo effect working down at UC Davis here in California, who has research to show that homeopathy is more than the placebo effect. So the purpose of the film is to make a grand argument for why homeopathy should be included in every healthcare system around the planet. And that's the objective of our film is to because there are so many amazing things to say about homeopathy, so many stories that people are largely
Yeah.
unaware of. I'll give you a great example. Beethoven, towards the end of his life, developed this very serious intestinal health issue, and it could have killed him. Fortunately, his physician was a homeopath, and his physician cured him of
Hmm.
this serious intestinal problem. And then he went on to write the late string quartets, including Opus 131, which is considered to be the epiphany of Western classical music. So, were it not for homeopathy, we would not have the late string quartets and Opus 131, which is considered to be the pinnacle of Western classical music. And there are many other stories like that to share about homeopathy, but we're very excited to share those and make them available to the general public.
Yeah, absolutely. This is so needed, isn't it? It's actually, and there have been other films that have been created. So what is going to make this film different? What is going to make it actually reach this goal?
So, Mary, that's a great question. There are, as you mentioned, a few other films. Matter of fact, my company actually made a film
Okay.
called Homeopathy Around the World with Carol Boyce. She's actually working on this project as well. And that was a 50-minute documentary that we made about homeopathy at a grassroots level in 12 different countries around the world. But it was made for a very small amount of money. We did it on a $7,000 shoestring budget. This project is a much more significant type of endeavor. What distinguishes this film from anything else that's happened? Not to say that these other films that were made weren't good, they are. But what they did, and this is a very common technique used in making documentary films, is they tried to create a foil. So they would use advocates of homeopathy, and they would contrast that with skeptics of homeopathy.
Okay.
And that's a very useful creative tool to create tension, to create, some type of opposition. The problem for me was that what would happen in these other films is somebody would say something really positive about homeopathy, and then immediately there'd be this medical doctor come in and he would poo-poo what was just been said. It's not
Mhm.
plausible, it can't happen. And so it would take away the energy. And so I think if you weren't already positive about homeopathy, you might not necessarily be persuaded. Our objective is to talk about all of the different ways that homeopathy can benefit an individual, how it can benefit the planet, that it's eco-friendly, it's cost-effective,
Yeah.
it's animal-friendly. There's just so many things to say about it.
Yes.
So we don't need to give anybody else a voice in homeopathy.
No.
Big Pharma has enough money to promote themselves. We don't need to give them a voice. We're simply talking about all of the amazing things that have to do with homeopathy. And we're not criticizing any other therapeutic modality. We're simply talking about the positive attributes of this amazing system of medicine.
That sounds really good and really, really important. And I love that approach. And you said that you've been talking to Nobel Prize winners and things about the physics, because I think that is so important, the science of homeopathy. We're just beginning to get so much more information now about this, aren't we? It's almost as if we're on the brink of understanding exactly what's happening with homeopathy. Will that have some coverage?
Oh, yes, absolutely. One of the major segments is to talk about potentized medicines, to talk about mechanism of action. Now, we don't really know what the mechanism of action is relative to homeopathy. There are many different theories out there, nanoparticles and silicates, and different ideas. But the truth of the matter is, there are many different conventional medicines for which we do not know the mechanism of action. As a matter of fact, aspirin just recently was the mechanism of action was discovered for that particular medicine. So we know that it works. This is the bottom
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
And there's a tremendous amount of research to support that. I mean, even dating all the way back to the early 20th century with Thomas Lindsley Bradford, who wrote a book called The Logic of Figures, where he documented statistically the efficacy of homeopathy in the treatment of epidemic diseases. And homeopathy was amazingly successful in the treatment of cholera, malaria, typhoid. You've probably heard of Adolf Lippe.
Yes.
Lippe was considered by many people to have been the greatest homeopathic prescriber who ever lived. And Lippe, in 50 years of busy practice, never lost one typhoid, cholera, or malaria patient. And this is during a period of time when the mortality rates of these diseases was 40, 50, 60%. He never lost a patient. Constantine Hering treated over 300 cases of pneumonia. He never lost a case. And again, this is during a period of time when the mortality rate of these diseases was very, very high. So homeopathy has proven itself. And yes, eventually, hopefully, we'll discover the actual mechanism of action. And we'll certainly talk about that. We'll talk about potentized medicine. We'll talk about the work of Dr. Luc Montagnier, who did those incredible experiments subsequent to his discovery of the HIV virus, and how
Mhm.
he showed that you could dilute these substances, and they, provided that you did it in a very specific way. They have electromagnetic pulses, and even when you diluted it beyond Avogadro's number, there would still be some type of pattern in the diluent, which could, under the right circumstances, recreate the viral or DNA or bacterial particles that had been diluted originally into the solvent. So we'll be discussing all of that for sure. I do want to make it really clear, though, that homeopathy is not the use of potentized medicines. Homeopathy is the application of the law of similars. Hahnemann, in his early days, when he was doing his provings, all of the remedies that are listed in Materia Medica Pura were all done with mother tincture. The metals were done in a 1x trituration, but
Okay.
all of the plants were done with mother tincture. And
Uh-huh.
even early on, when he was treating Clockenbring and things of that nature, most likely he was giving mother tincture of these very substances. So homeopathy is simply the application of the law of similars, homeo, similar, pathos, suffering.
Mhm.
Of course, because we use very toxic substances, he had to come up with a way to be able to give these without killing the people that were receiving them. So he did develop this method of dilution and succussion, which does actually bring out certain healing properties of these substances. But the real practice of homeopathy is the law of similar, similia similibus curantur.
We've got so much that the world needs to know about, haven't we? And so much there that you mentioned about how homeopathy has been used in the past that people just are totally unaware of. So I suppose that's where Netflix comes into it, reaching the masses, reaching the people that don't currently know.
Yes, absolutely. We're currently in discussion with Netflix, not just to have it be published on Netflix, but actually to have it released as a Netflix original. because yeah, we can get it on Amazon, we can get it on Apple TV, we can get it on Netflix. This will be a professionally produced high-level documentary film, but we want it to be seen by millions of people. And if we can get it released as a Netflix original, you're guaranteed of many, many millions of people to see it. We're also, I just recently spoke with Morgan Freeman's production company about actually having Morgan Freeman narrate the film for us. Again, that would add a certain level of credibility to this
Mhm.
documentary. You can imagine the voice of God, talking,
Yes.
narrating a film about homeopathy. So we're trying to do this at a very high level so that millions of people will see it. We didn't do this to make money. We're not planning to make any money. We're simply wanting to get it out in front of as many eyes as we possibly can.
This is so exciting. It's so exciting to hear. And of course, Kim, we've got lots and lots of people in our Homeopathy 24/7 community who are really excited to hear about this. So we know that you need money to create this film. We know that you've got a really good system and you're giving away homeopathic courses and all sorts of things for donations. Can you just tell us a little bit more about fundraising and about what you
Yes.
need?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for your generous donation. You gave a particular course, is that correct? Or what was it exactly? It was
Um, I think we just started with a homeopathy book just for
a
people,
book, an
an
ebook, I
ebook, yeah,
believe.
an introduction to homeopathy.
Well, but still, thank you so much for that. It was very generous. We really appreciate it. And yes, we are needing to raise funds for the film. We've raised about 85% of what we need. So we don't have that much more left to go, but we do need to raise those additional funds. And we probably will need additional funds for marketing and also to go to the various film festivals as well. Because as I said earlier, we want to get this in front of as many people as possible. So the best way to make a donation is to go to introducinghomeopathy.com. I'll repeat that again, introducinghomeopathy.com. On that site, you can see all of the various individuals who have been collaborators in this project. Because I don't want this to be my voice. I want this to be the voice of the homeopathic community. And so we've invited many people to participate, to be involved, to look at various early iterations of the film, to provide feedback so we can make the best possible documentary that we can. You will also find on the website a number of videos that will give you a sense of the professionalism of the work that we're doing. And as you mentioned, there are a number of gifts that you receive for your donation. So I think you can make as little as like a $15 or $20 donation all the way up to I think $1,000. Of course, you're welcome to give more than that if you have those funds. But for each of those various levels of donation, there are various gifts that you can give. There's like courses by myself or courses by Dr. Farouk Master. There's a 66-hour Organon course by Dr. Joe Kellerstein. There's a really wonderful array of different items that people can select from.
This is amazing. This is so good. And this is something that our community, who love courses, every time we talk to them, they say, what do you want more of? They're saying courses, webinars, courses. So I know that will be really interesting to them. And of course, they will be more than happy to help in any way possible to get this film out. When are you hoping to launch?
Yes, so we're planning to launch the film on April 18th at the Joint American Homeopathic Conference in Reston, Virginia. That will be the premiere of the film. They're going to have a red carpet event. We're hoping to have local television stations and journalists come for that. Many of the people who were interviewed and are in the film will actually be there to greet and meet people. That will also be streamed by internet as well. So if you actually go to the Joint American Homeopathic Conference, which I highly recommend, it's their 50-year anniversary. They've got an incredible slate of speakers. Probably people from the UK can't come, but if you can, come to Reston, Virginia in the spring. It's a lovely time. The blossoms are out. And if you participate in the Joint American Homeopathic Conference, you get to attend the documentary for free. Otherwise, you would be able to pay to either have it streamed or to pay to see it in person at the conference.
That's perfect. That's well, I look forward to finding out more about that. And so obviously we can let our community know where they can see it and how to get to it. And of course, a lot of our community are in the US, so they will be able to come
Fantastic.
perhaps as
Mary,
well.
can you come? Will you be able to make it?
Well, I might just actually.
It'd be great. It would be lovely to meet you in person.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's been absolutely amazing to meet you and talk to you today, and
Thank
just for you
you.
to explain what's happening and the big impact that this is really going to have on everything we do. Because, of course, I keep saying that everybody interested in homeopathy, we just get so focused on it. Once you start with homeopathy, it's very, very difficult to come out of it. It takes over every aspect of your life, and it just becomes part of you.
Yes, it's so true. And I want to thank you, Mary, for all the wonderful work and all the contributions you've made to our profession. It's greatly appreciated.
You're very welcome. Lovely to meet you. Thank you so
Nice
much
to
for your
meet you,
time.
Mary. I look forward to meeting you in person in Virginia.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kim. I am so excited about this film and privileged to be able to help, because it's going to be a wonderful thing that we can actually get homeopathy in front of millions of people, and with some evidence of what is happening and how homeopathy is helping to cure people. So I'm really, really excited about this. Next week, I'm going to be talking to Lisa Robbins. We'll be talking about using homeopathy with teenagers. It's going to be a really interesting discussing navigating the journey into adulthood, and talking about hormones, talking about how a consultation takes place, talking about helping adolescents, young adults use homeopathy to just maintain better health. If we can get them started and get them integrating it into their lifestyle, it just means so much better health for many, many years in the future. So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope you can join us. I do hope you've enjoyed these episodes, and I do hope you can subscribe to our channels. Now, there are various ways for you to listen to our podcast or watch it on video on YouTube. So whether it's iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, please do subscribe, and please do leave us a review. If you leave us a review on these platforms, then more people will see our podcast. We just want more people to share the joy of homeopathy. It's a choice that everybody should know about. Please do everything you can to help us help more people.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to listening to our next one. Please don't forget to follow our podcast on your chosen channel, and please do leave us a review so we can continue to share homeopathy with as many people as possible. If you do have any questions, please do reach out to us on any of our social platforms mentioned in the show notes. We at Homeopathy 24/7 hope to empower you on your natural health journey.